Today I'm showing you guys one of my favorite steak dinners. This meal can be on the dinner table in less than an hour and it's absolutely packed with flavor. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right guys, today we're making garlic butter steak bites with some seasoned rice and some asparagus. First things first, we're gonna go ahead and chop down or cut down our filet mignon. Now filet mignon is not in the budget, no big deal. You can do this with ribeye, New York strip, sirloin, whatever you got, whatever's on sale at the grocery store. We're gonna start by cutting this in half and then we're gonna kind of cube it up. We want it into bite-sized pieces, something that'll fit like on the fork. So something like that, it's kind of what we're looking for. Not real small, you don't want to shave it like you're about to make a cheese steak. You want to be like in that, I like to say that, a size that fits on the fork is kind of how I describe it. That may be different for different people. But that's what we're going with right there. If you find some pieces that are a little bit thinner, you can leave them a little bit larger. All right, so once the steak is cut down to your desired size, we're gonna go ahead and hit it with some kosher salt. Very important to make sure you salt your steak heavily or adequately. Heavily may not be the right word, so we get the salt police going crazy in the comments. But steak needs salt, people. So we got 2 pounds of steak, we're gonna season it like it's 2 pounds. My AP seasoning is low sodium, that's why I like to salt first, and then you can kind of control it a little bit better by using a low sodium all-purpose seasoning. If your all-purpose seasoning is not low sodium, you may want to skip the step with the salt. But this is how I like to do mine. The AP seasoning has a little onion powder, some black pepper, some garlic, all things that play really nicely with steak. Just give it a little mix, make sure you massage all the seasoning in there, and then we're going to get this off to the side to kind of rest, come up to room temperature a little bit, and allow those flavors to penetrate the meat. All right guys, now we're gonna go ahead and prep our veggies. We got some asparagus, we got some mushrooms off to the side we're gonna prep here in a minute, onions, some fresh herbs, and some garlic. So for the fresh herbs, I like to go ahead and remove the rosemary leaves. I want to give that a nice dice. That's gonna add tons of aromatics and flavor to the dish, along with some fresh thyme and the garlic. We're just gonna chop all of that up, add it to our onions and our mushrooms. That's gonna help flavor the sauce quite a bit. Then we're gonna coat our steak in. So when it comes to the thyme, if the stems are nice and tender, you can leave it intact and just dice it up. If they're a little bit thicker and firm, you wanna go ahead and remove the thyme leaves as well. Just a little best practice. Kind of just depends on the age and type of thyme that you're using. Nice rough chop on these. And again, we're gonna mix that with the garlic and whatnot. That's gonna go into the mushroom and onion mixture. Now for the garlic, the easiest way to do this is just smash it with the flat end of your knife, peel it, and then give it a rough chop. You could also use roasted garlic. You guys know I'm a big fan of that. If you don't have that, then you can roast it. It's gonna take you about 40 minutes. And that kind of adds a little bit too much time to this recipe, so we're gonna use fresh today. So again, nice rough chop. You can cut it down as small as you want, leave it into big chunks. What's kind of, personal preference when it comes to the garlic for this recipe. I like it a little bit chunkier for the steak bites. Because it's garlic butter steak bites, right? You want to be able to see the garlic in the sauce. That's why I leave it a little bit chunkier. Now for this recipe, I like to use basically asparagus tips. We're going to cut it kind of at an angle or on a bias. We're gonna add all of that in there, about a cup and a half or so of asparagus, preferably larger asparagus than this. Couldn't find it at the store, so that's what we're going with today. And then we're gonna dice our onion. You guys see me do that a million times, but nice fine dice on the onion. All right guys, so for the asparagus tips, we're gonna do a technique called blanching, which basically just means submerging the vegetable in a bit of boiling water with some salt. I'm gonna give it about 3 to 4 minutes, remove it in an ice bath to shock it, stop the cooking process. That's gonna preserve the bright green color. And it's one of the best ways to cook asparagus in my opinion. So that's what we're gonna do today. Give it a couple minutes, shock it in the cold water, then we'll add it to the rest of the recipe later. All right guys, so for the rice, we're gonna bring 2 cups of water to a boil. I'm gonna hit that water with a little bit of chicken bouillon powder and some garlic butter and herb seasoning. That's just gonna flavor the rice a little bit as it cooks. We can season it more as needed. In goes 1 cup of long grain rice. We're gonna reduce the heat down to a simmer and then cover it with the lid, let it cook for 15 to 20 minutes. or until the rice is fully cooked. Give it one little stir, and then you want to leave it alone after that. All right, my friends, now time for the fun part. We got our skillet heated over medium high. We're gonna add about a tablespoon of avocado oil, perfect for high heat cooking. It's gonna, you know, it has a higher smoke point, something like olive oil, which you don't really want to cook or sear meat with. I mean, you can, people do it, but avocado oil is better. So we're going in with our steak bites here, our filet mignon. Press down so it's making good surface area contact with that skillet. That's important to develop that crust we all enjoy. That adds flavor, texture, and color to your dish. We eat with our eyes first, and then a little bit of texture in the recipe is always nice too. If you need to do this in batches, then please do so. You don't want to overcrowd your skillet, which will cause the temperature of the skillet to drop and ruin your sear. What you're looking for here is a nice dark brown, beautiful crust on the steak, and that's what we got right there. Once you achieve that, it's safe to flip it over and show that other side some love. We're trying to cook these to about a medium rare. Probably gonna end up medium because they're kind of small, but no big deal. Still gonna be good, nice and juicy. Look at that. All right, guys, so once the steak is seared, it's time to get started on the garlic butter sauce. So for that, you need 2 hefty tablespoons of garlic, plenty of fond at the bottom of the skillet to accumulate and add flavor to the dish here. So we're gonna work that butter around, working over medium-low heat here. We don't wanna burn the butter. We are gonna use it to kind of get up some of that fond though. Next, we're going in with our onion. After the onion goes the mushrooms. We're just gonna let this caramelize a little bit before we go adding the garlic. We don't want the garlic to burn. We want it to be nice and fresh when it hits the skillet. We can, however, begin to add our herbs, the kind you cook with, not the kind that cook you. A little fresh rosemary and thyme. Also some fresh parsley. Save the rest for garnish. Give it a little toss. And then we'll begin to season this up a little bit. I like a little salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, a little red pepper flakes if you want to add a little pop of heat. The red pepper flakes also look nice for the presentation, give a little color contrast. Next up, we're going in with about a teaspoon of worst word in the world sauce. Adds a little umami to the situation. Also going to help color the sauce a bit. Next up, just a pinch of beef bouillon powder to beef up the beef flavor. We're also using low sodium beef broth, so that's going to help kick that up a little bit. Red pepper flakes, just a pinch. Our fresh garlic. Give that a good mix, and then we're going to deglaze with a little red wine. Followed by about a half cup of beef broth. Let that come into a simmer, cook off the wine, and then we're going to add the steak back to the party. Let that finish cooking. Plate that up over some rice. And you, my friends, have a fantastic steak dinner on your hands. Always important to taste as you go. I'll drink to that. We'll let that cook down for about 2 minutes or so. And then we'll add in that half cup of beef broth. And we should be good to go. Now towards the end, we're gonna go ahead and add in the asparagus. We're saving it for the end because remember we blanched it, so it's already about 75% of the way cooked, which is perfect. It's nice and bright green. It's gonna add some beautiful color to the dish, and it's gonna finish cooking in that sauce and absorb all of that flavor. We salted the water, so it's already got a little bit of seasoning. But look at that, guys, that looks good. Give it a little toss. In goes the beef broth. As you can see, the wine's cooked off nicely. Half cup of beef broth. Get that up to a simmer. And then in goes the steak. All right, guys, we're gonna plate this up over some rice. A little extra gravy, because why the hell not? We're here for a good time, not a long time. This is the part where I say, brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. My favorite part of the job. As you can see, we got a nice medium steak. All right, little rice, little gravy, little steak. Cheers, my friends.